Welcome. Today, we're not just watching a video, we're entering a real conversation. Think of this as sitting down together, whether you're a physician practicing medical aesthetics or someone simply curious about a treatment. You will find insights here that speak to you. For us as doctors, this is more than technique, it's reflection. These are questions we should not skip. And for patients, it's a chance to understand motivations, history, and the science behind the treatments you may be considering. Maybe you're driving to the hospital right now. Maybe you're relaxing on your couch after a long day. Wherever you are, I'll keep you company. I'll walk you through a journey of ideas, facts, and stories that connect medicine, beauty, and society. On this channel, I share new videos every week. Always current, always relevant. Don't lose track, subscribe now, explore the channel, and you'll discover content that's directly useful for your practice as a medical aesthetics physician. And one more thing, your voice matters here. If you enjoy this video, or if it sparks a thought, hit like and leave a comment. This is not a monologue, this is a community, and I believe knowledge grows when shared. Now, let's begin. Since the dawn of humanity, one question has never stopped fascinating us: the meaning of beauty. As medical aesthetics practitioners, and also as individuals considering or experiencing aesthetic treatments, understanding how this need first emerged and why it still persists is essential. Beauty is a controversial subject, and humanity has never truly reached a universal agreement about it. In the earliest societies, beauty was closely tied to fertility and nourishment, especially linked to the female body. It was seen as a force that ensured the continuation of life. So from the very beginning, beauty was associated with birth, vitality, abundance, and with what was sacred and life-sustaining. In Mesopotamia, beauty shone through dazzling jewelry, radiant young skin, fragrant oils, and carefully styled hair and beards. Sumerian and Assyrian art depicted figures with symmetrical brows, large eyes, and intricate braids. Cleanliness and grooming were considered inseparable parts of beauty. In ancient Egypt, artists even used grid systems to calculate ideal proportions of the face and body. Youth and symmetry were celebrated. The ideal Egyptian woman was slender-waisted, with graceful shoulders and a long, elegant neck. And above all, the legendary bust of Queen Nefertiti, with its balanced features and refined elegance, became the ultimate symbol of Egyptian beauty. The symmetry of her brows and eyes, the elongated neck, the poised stance, together they represent the pinnacle of Egyptian aesthetics. And even today, her influence lives on. In modern aesthetic literature, the so-called Nefertiti Botox treatment directly references her name. By relaxing the platysma muscles of the neck, this technique creates a slimmer and more refined appearance. In Egyptian art, beauty also signified social status. Elite women appeared with fine cosmetics, delicate linen, and golden ornaments, while lower classes were depicted in simpler forms. For the Egyptians, beautiful meant balanced, harmonious, aligned with the divine. Ugly, on the other hand, meant chaos and disorder. In ancient Greece, beauty was not just admired, it became a passion, even a cult. The Greeks adopted the ideal of kalokagathos, the unity of the beautiful and the good. To them, true beauty was inseparable from virtue and morality. The gods themselves granted outer beauty only to mortals they deemed worthy. Greek thinkers developed serious theories about beauty. The concept of the golden ratio emerged, suggesting that mathematical harmony created aesthetic perfection. Sculptor Polykleitos, in his famous work Canon, laid out precise proportional rules to define the ideal human form. Male beauty was equally celebrated. Athletic, well-proportioned bodies, like the statues of Apollo, were signs of both physical and spiritual health. Some Greek city-states even held competitions known as euandria, where young men were judged for endurance and physical beauty. And in mythology, the famous judgment of Paris, where Paris awarded the golden apple to the most beautiful goddess, shows how beauty was seen as a prize to be won, a tangible mark of superiority. Ultimately, the Greeks defined beauty as measurable perfection, a divine gift. Ugliness, in contrast, symbolized imbalance, disorder, and even moral deficiency. In ancient China, beauty ideals merged with Confucian values of modesty and refinement. A beautiful woman was expected to be gentle, graceful, and delicate in demeanor. Historical records show that pale, fair skin was highly prized because a light complexion symbolized aristocracy, wealth, and freedom from manual labor under the sun. A bronzed face suggested outdoor work and lower class, while white skin signified privilege and elegance. Throughout history, beauty has been strongly associated with the female body. But why is it that, in almost every culture, the very first image of beauty is a woman's face? From the earliest times, fertility and attraction were embodied in feminine figures. Think of Inanna of the Sumerians, Ishtar of Babylon, Aphrodite of the Greeks, and Venus of the Romans. All were goddesses of love and beauty. This was the first moment when beauty itself was symbolized at the divine level, through the female gender. In Roman mythology, Venus was not only beautiful, she embodied love, desire, and fertility, combined in a single deity. Here's the fascinating part. The concept of the beautiful woman shaped how societies valued women. In noble families, beauty could determine diplomatic marriages. In royal harems, from the Ottoman Empire to Imperial China, women celebrated for their beauty could reach positions of real political influence. So beauty was not only an aesthetic ideal, it was also a form of power. Reaching these standards was usually reserved for the wealthy and the aristocratic. Beauty itself became a sign of social status. In medieval and early modern Europe, pale and unbronzed skin was not just a preference, it was a mark of nobility and refinement. Philosophers have debated the idea of universal beauty for centuries, but for a long time it remained abstract. No concrete proof. That began to change with science. Until the 1970s, anthropologists and sociologists emphasized the cultural relativity of beauty. They believed that every culture defined beauty differently. But in the 1980s, cross-cultural studies by psychologists and evolutionary biologists revealed something surprising. Different societies actually shared many common criteria. In 1987, a large study asked people of different races and cultures to evaluate faces. The result was striking. Average and symmetrical faces were judged attractive almost everywhere. In the 1990s, another famous study showed something even more remarkable. Newborn babies without any cultural influence looked longer at the very same faces that adults considered attractive. These were more symmetrical, closer to average faces. So maybe beauty isn't just in the eye of the beholder. Maybe it is hardwired into the human brain. By the late 20th century, a scientific consensus started to form. Yes, cultural details differ, but beneath those details, universal mechanisms of attraction exist. This became the scientific foundation of the idea of universal beauty. Another factor reshaping beauty is globalization and media. By the late 20th and early 21st centuries, people everywhere were seeing the same movie stars, the same models, the same so-called world beauties. Television, cinema, and later the internet spread dominant beauty ideals across the globe. This created the impression of a worldwide agreement about beauty, but in reality it was more about cultural homogenization. Still, some signals are universal: symmetry, youthfulness, and indicators of health, and our brains respond to them in a very specific way. Functional MRI studies have shown that when a person looks at an attractive face of the opposite sex, reward centers of the brain, such as the orbitofrontal cortex and the nucleus accumbens, light up with activity. The brain literally processes beauty as if it were a reward. Psychologists argue that this rewarding nature of beauty helps pull people together and make social interaction easier. Social psychology also describes the halo effect. We unconsciously assign positive traits, like kindness or intelligence, to people we find attractive. From an evolutionary perspective, symmetry is one of the most important signals. A symmetrical face or body often indicates healthier development and fewer genetic defects. So when we say someone is beautiful, we may not just be describing appearance. We may actually be reading their biology. If beauty has always been so important, did people actually fight for it? The answer is yes, and they did so from the very beginning. In ancient Egypt, people used animal fats, salts, and even sour milk, rich in lactic acid, to rejuvenate their skin. And in the 2nd century AD, Roman physician Galen created the world's first cosmetic medical product, the cold cream, made of rose water, beeswax, and olive oil. But surgery also entered the story early. An Egyptian papyrus from 1600 BC described repairing a broken nose. In India, the surgeon Sushruta performed the first rhinoplasty, reshaping noses lost in battle or as punishment. And in Rome, Aulus Cornelius Celsus detailed how skin grafts could repair facial deformities. His writings guided surgeons for over 1,500 years. The Renaissance revived these ideas. Italian pioneers like Gaspare Tagliacozzi developed bold facial reconstruction methods, laying the groundwork for modern surgery. The real transformation came in the 19th century, when anesthesia and antisepsis made surgery safer. Von Graeff used the term plastic surgery in 1818. Diefenbach defined rhinoplasty as cosmetic correction, and soon, procedures multiplied. In 1887, John O'Roe performed the first modern cosmetic rhinoplasty. In 1895, Dr. Cherney carried out the first breast augmentation using transplanted tissue. The World Wars accelerated progress. Harold Gillies rebuilt shattered faces of soldiers in World War I, earning the title Father of Modern Plastic Surgery. In World War II, Archibald McIndoe reconstructed burned pilots, whose group became famously known as the Guinea Pig Club. By the mid-20th century, cosmetic surgery was gaining acceptance, and in 1962, the first silicone breast implant was placed, marking a new era. Today, facelifts, blepharoplasty, liposuction, abdominoplasty, rhinoplasty, and breast surgery are routine. What began with sour milk and rose water has become a high-tech branch of modern medicine, from restoring the lost to creating the desired.